Living consciousness, opportunity in shifting perspective. Good morning. We are in the chair and on the air, and we are starting a new season of Living Consciousness 2013. Excited to be here. We're sorry for the little delay. We are supposed to start at 11, but there's a lot of new cool things going on Spreaker.com that I have yet to be programmed on, which is, of course, the intention set for today is to share with you about our upcoming one-day seminar. Hopefully that you get some wonderful gems from just hearing this half-an-hour program, give or take a few minutes. And our seminar is going to be live streamed if you would like to access that option, as well as in person at the Hilton in San Bernardino, California. Next Saturday, January 26th, starting at 10 in the morning, going till about 4:30 that afternoon. It's a great opportunity, and I'll get you some more information towards the end of the show regarding registration. So this is our one-day seminar, Living Consciousness radio program, and as I said, it's Season 2, 2013. We're so excited to be with you. So now I'd like to welcome Dr. Kurt Bickford. Good morning.
Good morning.
He's been very patient as I've been trying to work the technology to get us going this morning. I want to just give you a couple ways to get more information regarding this program, which is through Spreaker, Spreaker.com. If you'd like to access all of our 17 previous episodes, 18 including today, you can go to Spreaker.com/user/Bickford Covington. Bickford Covington, spelled BICKFORDCOVINGTON, and that will get you right into all those episodes. Spreaker.com is a great program. It's pretty easy to access. And the other way is if you're a Facebook user, we do have a Facebook page that announces the upcoming radio shows if you like us, as well as we'll give you registration information as we get closer to these monthly one-day seminars. Every month we offer you a one-day seminar, and the schedule is actually available on the Living Consciousness website. Now, the trick to the Living Consciousness website is it's living-consciousness.com, and all the information you could ever want regarding this radio show as well as our one-day seminars is available there. So, with all that, today we are, as I said, opening some dialogue here with Dr. Bickford, who will be teaching this seminar on programming with the best of intention, a look at religious as well as media programming. And basically, I just like to kind of start off with a question to him as far as, Dr. Bickford, are our thoughts, are our beliefs, help us out.
Are our thoughts our beliefs?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when we're talking about psycho-spiritual growth, one of the main tools to our own advancement of consciousness is discernment, that ability to tell the difference between when we're not being told the truth and when we are in alignment with truth. And that one ability will take you anywhere you need to go psycho-spiritually. So let's just do a little test. Let's just test ourselves here.
Test. How fun.
I want to ask you a question. And as you're considering the question, simultaneously I want you to observe your own reaction to the question, both your thoughts and your feelings. And here's the question. How much of reality we perceive has been manipulated? Just let that question sink in a bit. Think about it. My reality manipulated? It's my reality. Don't we all believe that we know the truth? Don't we all believe that we live a life according to truth? And to a certain extent that is true, in that we live a life according to our level of consciousness, and in that level of consciousness, we believe that consciousness to be the truth. But as you think of the possibility that you have been manipulated, what's your reaction to that? Just to that statement. What's going on in terms of your feelings and what's happening to your thoughts? Because the truth is this: within each of us, there's this line of demarcation between our own personal beliefs and those beliefs that we adopted from the outside world. And the beliefs from the outside world are rarely based in actual truth, but rather manipulated truth. So here's another question for you to contemplate.
Oh boy, I'm still working on the last one.
How well has your belief system worked out for you? When you consider the quality of your life, the quality of your relationships, the peace of mind that you seek, the fulfillment of your purpose, you get the idea. When you look at one's life, is it your life or is it the life prescribed by others?
Prescribed. Interesting word to use. Prescribed by others. You're getting to a point here, I know. A very specific one.
Well, prescription is this idea that, much like a physician prescribes, prescription is done through thoughts, through teachings, through manipulation, through the transfer of information from one to another. And every family, every culture, every religion, all prescribe. They all tell you how to think.
Yes.
They all tell you how to believe. They even tell you how you're supposed to feel and what it is you're supposed to do in all circumstances.
Okay.
So, let's go further.
Oh boy, I'm liking this.
Just think of something you continue to do today that was taught to you by your parents. Something well ingrained. Say, a religious belief. Or perhaps following the career path they insisted upon. Or maybe your sexual identity. Or how you are supposed to relate to them. Now, imagine for a second doing it differently. Doing it differently than what you were taught. What comes up inside of you? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Did you flinch? Was there a part of you that just said, I can't move any further? Did you get frightened? Was there that little rush of adrenaline that ran through you? Did your cognition kind of scramble in confusion for a moment? You just had your fight or flight response triggered.
Fight or flight.
Fight or flight. And we haven't even done anything. Yeah. Nothing's gone on. All you've done is imagined for a moment.
Well,
so deep inside your brain is the remnants of an animal brain. Our human brain developed out of a reptilian brain, which developed further into a mammalian brain. On top of that, primates and then humans developed a neocortex over that. But inside deep structures of our brain is that fight or flight response that is based in survival. And our human ego latches on to that. Our ego, when it is working with us, is trying to help us survive. And so anything that puts us up against something that might hinder our continued survival, it gets triggered. And that, with the complexity of the human brain, well, quite ignorant, but complex, still gets triggered. And so one of those things that happens when there's threat, now remember, all we were doing is imagining. All we're doing here is talking. Nothing has happened.
Yeah, all you do is pose a question.
A question was posed, nothing more. You're in the safety of wherever it is you're listening to this. There is no threat to your life right this second. And yet your entire body responded. Your feelings responded. Your thoughts responded. Biochemicals were rushing through your system. You flinched. And that's how you know you got triggered. But why'd you get triggered? These are just beliefs. And the question is, whose beliefs? Whose beliefs are you living your life by? Because the truth is, as long as you live your beliefs or your life according to someone else's beliefs, regardless of where those beliefs come from, it's not your life. You are nothing more than a humanoid robot. Programmed.
So really, when I made the Freudian slip of your thoughts are our thoughts are beliefs, that's actually not that far off.
That's not that far off. That's exactly right. Shall we go a little further?
Oh, this is great, yes.
All right, so all we've been doing now is just imagining, correct?
True.
We've just been sitting here thinking about the possibility that the way we've lived our life is according to somebody else's belief system.
Okay.
Let's take another step. All in our imagination. We're not going anywhere. No threats here.
Should we take a good diaphragmatic breath first?
You might want to. You might want to hold on to your seat here. Now imagine. Just imagine. Picking up the phone, calling that parent or parents, and telling them that no longer will you be held sway to their prescription of life. No longer will you be following their religious beliefs, or no longer will you be coming home for Christmas, or whatever religious holiday you follow, or that career that they insisted that you be. You've decided you're leaving that career. Doesn't matter what you leave it to. It's the point that you're no longer going to follow what they told you to do. So, for example, if you were trained to believe that you needed to be a physician, or you needed to be a teacher, or you needed to be a whatever, and you discovered that that was a poor match for you, you as an individual have every right to say, no more. This isn't fulfilling my life. But they prescribed it. They conditioned you. They programmed you to believe that you had to be that. So now the phone call. What's happening inside you? What are you feeling? A rush of excitement or a flinch of fear? And really, when we move it to some more difficult topics like religious beliefs, now what happens to you? Regardless, again, what you were raised to believe. Whether you were raised to be some variation of Christian, or Muslim, or Jewish, or Hindu, or Buddhist, and all of a sudden you're saying, no more, that's not for me. I found something different. What do you anticipate their reaction to be? And even if your parents are no longer alive and you're imagining that conversation, likelihood is you're still reacting. That's how you know you've been programmed. Can you feel it? Can you sense it? Now let's take it one step further. Imagine that same discussion face to face. This is now the time, face to face, that you're going to announce that I'm no longer going to be attending church or the temple, or that I know I've been pretending that I'm heterosexual, but I'm not, I'm homosexual. Or I know I've been practicing as a physician, or at least trying to, for years and years and years, but I quit. I'm no longer that. I'm going to go do what I want to do. Now, what's going on inside of you? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? Anything short of being calm about it is you up against their programs, their manipulations, you living their life. And here's what we have to always know. If the idea of change in any way, our behaviors, our ideas, our careers, our religion or not, creates any kind of emotional upheaval or cognitive distress within us, then you have been programmed completely and fully. And here's what you have to know. It's not just parents. They're just easy targets. It's parents, it's the families that we grew up in, it's the culture we grew up in, the religion we grew up in, our governments, our peers, our educational system, the media, both news and entertainment. They all program us, some through ignorance, some deliberately. Can you see it? Can you feel it? And this is what we're going to be talking about in the next seminar. And sometimes it's so subtle, so subtle.
So, in going through that, one of the things I'm hearing, and I just want to kind of reiterate, is if we go to visualize making that call or saying it in person, and as you noted, it maybe not just parents, maybe it's to a friend, maybe it's to a pastor, maybe it's to, that the fact that we flinch is telling us that we are not our own truth.
That's exactly right.
Maybe it's not even that we want to change out or be different, but the fact that we would flinch inside of ourselves, and that would be a problem. It would be an uncomfortableness.
That flinching is telling you that there's threat with just the idea of change.
Okay.
And that threat is tied to basic neuroanatomical structures in your brain that are there to protect you. But what's the threat? Where's the threat?
So it's that moment realizing that we can't be our own authentic self.
Exactly.
So whether, again, in the exercise, whether that is applicable to us or not, the fact that we can't comfortably and just say, yeah, I could do that. Yeah, that would be no problem. The minute we're flinching is that whole point that we are subscribing to the prescription.
Correct.
And in that, what we're getting to is something I know we're going to be also addressing in this seminar, and that is manufactured emotions.
Exactly.
So could you expand a little into what I mean? And I know we've talked about manufactured emotions and how that ties into this programming.
Well, if you think this all the way through, the fight or flight response is really an emotional response. It's tied to the limbic system of the brain. Yes. And any good program has emotional components to it. When we're children, that emotional component is either the fear of our parents' anger or that strong desire to please them. And they become entwined. But we also see that in religion. Anytime we have somebody who is lecturing to us from a pulpit or such, always are we brought up against our own sinful nature. We're brought up against that which we seemingly can't control. And then there's all these implied threats of what's going to happen to us if we don't obey. if we don't follow the prescription of the religious path that we're being taught. And it happens in our government as well. Obey the law or what? Bad things happen to you. It happens in our educational system. Perform well or what? Yes. Oh, you're going to get bad grades. So
and even for the teachers, perform well or you get bad grades.
Oh, most certainly. Teachers, you know this one well.
Oh, my goodness.
And we just pass that on to our children.
Oh, yes.
And it is not about good or bad at all. And yet we are taught that from the very, very beginning. And so anywhere we go that's trying to get us to join their belief systems, there is always this emotional component. There's always this you did or you didn't. You performed well or you didn't perform well. You are either good or you are bad. And of course our human nature wants to be seen as good. That obviously promotes life, doesn't it? Yes. So we unconsciously want to belong. We unconsciously want to engender some kind of positive regard for who we are. We innately to who we are wish to survive. So all of these structures simultaneously together work to create the program.
So that innateness to survive is so strong that until we bring consciousness to this, we're not even aware that this is going on.
Exactly. Just think, now, I mean this with the greatest of respect.
Be gentle with us, Dr.
And if you're listening to us from a different country, then just put in your cultural or religious part into it. But here in America, Christianity is huge. And we keep propagating this myth that there's this really bad place that we go to if we don't conform. And that conformity is taught week after week. In fact, just the idea that week after week we have to show up just to be taught again. And now it's expanded to, it used to just be Sunday mornings, you get in, get out. And then all of a sudden it's Saturday nights and Sunday mornings. And then we added in Wednesday nights. And then, of course, now there's Bible study that goes throughout the week. And what are we being taught over and over and over? Conform, or you are going to this terrible, awful place.
Which then just fires up that fight or flight all the time.
All the time. And we try to pretend it's not there. We try to pretend it's good. And the only way we can pretend it's good is to join in. We can't question, of course. Think about it. If you just think, if I question what is being taught, what comes back to me? And it goes even further than that. There are now systems out there, programs out there that are designed to help you in your own personal development. They go by various names, and some of you know what they are in your culture or in your area.
Where like weekend-esque kind of things.
Yeah. Okay. Come to our program for the weekend. It'll cost you a few $100, but it will change your life. And as you sit there, it's an emotional pull.
So it's all manufactured emotions.
It's all manufactured
That I
emotions.
attended one of those weekends, and absolutely true.
Well, then perhaps you could share your experience in that.
Well, they set up very strong rules about you have to be there at a certain time. And if you come in lagging, they shame you and tell you that you just really aren't motivated to really be here and you're not going to get out of it what you need. And then they don't lock the doors. There's some places where they say they lock us in there, and they don't lock you in there, but there's shaming involved in anything when you don't conform to the protocol.
Correct.
They keep you up till 10, 11, 12 at night, all day lecturing. So you're tired and you let down your own thinking. I just felt I wanted to experience for the understanding of what this was all about, because it was such a wave going through our own community.
Correct.
And, so you get tired, your own thinking shuts down, or you just kind of go into automation.
Right.
And then when you do go up to a mic and share what you're getting and what you're glowing about, then you get lots of praise and adoration. And one of the things, we're both psychologists, we know that one of the primitive drives for all of us is validation and acknowledgement and being special.
Right.
So it's beautifully done, manufactured emotions.
It's orchestrated.
Totally orchestrated. And not to say there isn't some, it's always that point, and you've said this in lots of previous radio shows and in all these seminars, it's not that there's not some elements of truth in it. They weave it in. It's not that it's all false,
right,
but it's all the alignment to this one particular belief corridor. And so in that is the loss of self. And so the moment you deter from that, that's why you're not doing well. The moment you're not, being this thing, that's why you're not thriving. And
exactly,
it's nothing about the authentic
and
self.
here's another way it's manufactured emotion. And it's this: it doesn't sustain.
Exactly.
If you don't keep going back and getting inoculated again and again and again, you can't maintain that emotional high you're on. Whether we're talking about attending churches or synagogues or temples, or we're talking about these kinds of weekend programs, and there's always the hook. Make sure you're back here next week. Make
and that
sure
you bring people with you.
Exactly. Oh, that's always the best one, isn't it?
And I want to say, because sometimes even in these seminars, I know that people want to share this with other people as far as consciousness, and it's not the same thing. It's that there's specialness when you bring other people. This is what promotes you into leadership.
Correct.
And I think these are that I just love this manufactured emotion concept because it explains so much about how do you decipher really what is psychospiritual healthiness and what is conformity. And
right.
It is subtle. I mean, can I just say, I was looking for a card the other day, a Hallmark card. And it's even in the cards.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to pick this card, and they all say this conforming thing of how wonderful this person is and what they've meant to you in your life. And I've done enough of my own work, not just as a psychologist, but myself being in psychotherapeutic process throughout my life, and my own contemplative processes have come clear about what these individuals are to me and why or why not they are important or not important. And so as I'm reading these cards, I'm just like, I can feel emotion coming up, and I'm very conscious of it. But it's right there as I'm reading the card, I'm getting manufactured emotions.
Exactly.
And I'm like feeling, if I wasn't, where I am right now, I would feel pulled to buy this particular card and say all these things that really aren't my truth.
Correct.
And so it took me about a half an hour to find the right card. But it's in the cards. That's how subtle this is. It's in our commercials.
It's in our advertising.
It's down the 10 freeway.
Here's a great study for you. If you don't think advertising influences you, try this one on for size. And here's the experiment. We take a bunch of children and we put the exact same food in different types of wrappers. So some of the wrappers are a McDonald's wrapper, and another one is just a plain wrapper, and another one is some logo that no one's ever heard of. But remember now, the food is exactly the same. There is no difference between the food. So we have the children try out all the food, and guess what they say tastes the best? McDonald's.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. Why? Because they have been programmed to that logo since they had their first inklings of consciousness, and usually it's somehow attached to a treat, to something pleasant.
It's a Happy Meal, for crying out loud. Talk about manufactured emotions.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it can be that subtle. And yet it's even worse, folks. It goes to the government. The government does this, and the media does it for the government, where we will only tell you certain stories, but we won't tell you all the stories or the true stories. We won't tell you the bad things that are going on. We'll just tell you kind of the fluffy little things around the corner. Or we'll make the other person sound bad or stupid or ignorant or manipulative or whatever it is that they want to promote at the time. And when you start looking at the stories of truth globally that we're not being told, you start to recognize that we are being manipulated, programmed, and conditioned to not ask for the truth.
So, in our upcoming seminar on January 26th, which is next Saturday, this is where we get to expand. You're going to help us with this, right, Dr. Pickford?
Right.
Because it is, I'm just, the enormity of how often it's in the air, that how do we decipher, how do we know what is our own thoughts, what are truly the beliefs we want and desire through consciousness to align with. You're gonna help us process this and get this next Saturday.
Yes. Well, for everybody listening to this, here's your homework between now and whenever. And it's really to start looking at the idea that your belief system is a lid on the growth of your consciousness. Whatever you believe to be a truth that isn't, that's a lid. You're not going any further. That will be the limit of your growth and development.
So with that statement, though, the process next Saturday is going to be about how to understand what is our lid.
Correct.
How to decipher what is our truth, which right now I'm just know, and of course I know my own work and I know what you do, and it just to get underneath that programming, the manufactured emotions, and having those concepts that teach us to just kind of conform and move along versus recognizing the flinching, recognizing what is not truth and alignment for us.
Well, even that issue of flinching, even that issue of having what one in our culture will call a negative emotion, we've been trained and conditioned to believe to avoid those. If you feel bad, take something to make yourself feel better. Did you notice that? Take something to feel better, not look at the thing that is making you feel bad. Isn't that interesting? That in itself is one of those subtle programs.
Wow. We have a lot to cover next Saturday, and again, for those of you who can't make it to the Hilton, whether you live close or far, but would still like the access to this great day, we will be streaming live. And for those of you who want to join us in the real reality realm here at the Hilton in SoCal, all that information can be accessed through the following. The registration links are available now for a couple different places you can go to. Again, just to kind of highlight BickfordCovington.com website. Those links will be up today. Actually, they are up today. Living-consciousness.com is another place to get your registration done. And I will be posting on the Facebook Living Consciousness. Again, I gave you that address earlier in the show. So that link will be available in a little while this afternoon. And you can also, if you just want to avoid all the internet stuff and you'd prefer just to dial a phone number, you're welcome to call us at 909 area code in the States, 794-8400, and you can register directly with our assistant, Kathy. If you get to our websites and subscribe to the email list, you will actually get you'll get your own specific email sent to you with a registration link and more information for all of the seminars upcoming this year, which they are all scheduled, and the list is on those websites. I think I've covered it all. I'm pretty darn excited about this seminar. It's going to be kind of one of those wows. Very life transforming, and certainly I think just to kind of end, it would be the first steps in our liberation.
Indeed.
Thank you so much, Kurt.
Namaste.
Namaste.